Hello and welcome, or welcome back. Today I'm excited to share with you my Potion Brewer's house in Disney Dreamlight Valley. Whenever I was designing this house, I was excited with this new star path, the Witchful Thinking Star Path, because it came out with a ton of absolutely stunning witch decor, or I guess we could say witchcore items. Many of these items were very potion oriented. I was really excited whenever we did get this house skin in because it was super cute and it was exactly down my alley. What I wanted to do is I wanted to make it feel very intense and cluttered, and as if a group of witches were selling a couple of different items in the main floor, and the main floor would then segment off into different areas, such as a witch's brewing area down in the basement, and then upstairs we're gonna have a witch potion specialized area. But whenever I was designing this space, I wanted it to feel very intense and very cluttered. And on the main floor, I wanted it to serve a couple of different things. I wanted unique items in here that were mixed with the potion bottles, such as the magical spinning wheel. I wanted it to kind of have the concept and idea that you would come into here and you would bring your threads and you could magically convert them into a magical thread that you would then use in your potion brewings. Whenever I'm designing these house skins, what I try to do for myself so that I get kind of an idea of what I should do and what I should build and where I should build, and kind of give it some continuity and a storyline so that the actual house skin itself makes sense with all the different spaces. And I do want them to have some type of, not necessarily an interaction with one another, but based off of one another, such as we manufacture the potions downstairs and then we sell them on the main floor, and then the specialty store on the shop sells the special potions on the main floor as well. You know, we have that bubbling cauldron, which is such an incredible item. I love it so much, and I was so excited to use it, and I wanted to use it in green so that it would be reminiscent of the glowing mushrooms. Then I used quite a few items from the haunted floating in this space because they felt very magical and witchy, and definitely an item that somebody would purchase to use in one of their specialty potions that they're making. But again, I took all those things in mind whenever I was designing this space so that I could get an idea of what I wanted to put in the space, and then based off of the items that we have in the game, I then put those items into the space. So now we're gonna go upstairs to the specialty potion shop. This is the specialty potion shop. We have a couple of potion brewers standing behind the counter selling their wares. And then we also have the evil queen upstairs. I was so excited to use this, and I might stick her on a mannequin in a couple of different builds of mine, so you're definitely gonna see her in the future. And then behind the countertop here, we have all of our books. It was really hard to film these spaces because I really tightly packed everything in. And if an item is not a wall item, unless the camera clips directly into the item, it doesn't disappear. But I did want this shop to have some type of an architectural interest, and I did want it to feel a little bit less like just a simple square. I could have sectioned off an area and have done that, but then whenever I spin the camera around, it doesn't necessarily look as good for you guys whenever I have like a blank space. It's just visually appealing whenever you walk into the space. And because I wanted to make this shop fully and completely immersive and feel like a potion shop that was complete and no weird empty space that I was trying to hide, I did decide to just make it a square and then pop out different areas of the wall so that it felt like there were alcoves built into the space. And I tried to wrap some of the wood beams around the windows so those also felt like they were built in. And I just wanted this shop to feel a little bit different than some of my other spaces. And I did want it to feel very immersive, nice and cluttered. Of course, I always try to put tons of items on my counters. I want the space to feel very lived in and realistic, and as if there were people upstairs actually selling their wares. And that is another reason why I put mannequins in a lot of my builds whenever I'm showing you guys, because I do have a little bit of a story that I'm trying to go with so that it makes sense whenever you're looking at the space. And the mannequins definitely make the builds feel more realistic and lived in, and then you can kind of get an idea for the scale of the space. Let's go into the next space, and this space here is my potion brewer's apartment, and I hope that you guys like this build as well. This space here, whenever I was designing it, as I was decorating, it was a little difficult because the camera kept zooming in and out because, again, an item, whenever you're spinning the camera around, only disappears if it's a wall item, and whenever you are clipping through it with the camera, if it's not a wall item, it'll disappear, but if you're slightly behind it, it doesn't. So I'm gonna do my best to show you everything I can as well as I can. This was the idea of, we were having tea time with the ladies, so the potion brewer, this is her house. I wanted it, again, to feel lived in, show you a realistic scene, kind of set that up for you. So they're together having tea with one another and some cake. So I tried to put 3, because I have 3 mannequins, of each tea and 3 of each tea cake. So again, a little bit of continuity there. And then over here, I have the bathroom. Unfortunately, we don't have any type of ceiling curtains that I could have put in front of this bathroom that wouldn't get fully and completely in the way visually. So just imagine that there are sliding doors that close whenever somebody does decide to use the bathroom. Again, we are working with what we have and we have to use our imagination. I'm definitely trying to do the best I can with what we have and what we are allowed to put inside. And I'm really happy with the way it turned out. And I think visually, it does show pretty well. That's what I'm mostly going for whenever you walk into the space. I want you to be able to swing the camera around and see it, but I want you to feel immersed in the space, like I am showing you whenever I zoom in as best I can at a bit of a lower angle. I do want it to feel a little bit realistic and as if you are actually in the space, which I know it's not necessarily the easiest thing to do. I'm just trying my best and I'm having fun. Whenever I was designing this, I made sure that I stayed in a very similar color story because these purples are very rich and very intense, but many of the potion bottles have the purple in them. So I did try to incorporate the purples and the pinks more so in this area than the other areas with the rug. And I put a couple of flowers hanging from the ceiling in the bedroom to make it feel a little bit more whimsical. And then I always, whenever I'm decorating my spaces, want to add some kineticism to them. And by doing that, I think that it does make them visually a lot more appealing. And then the last space we're going to go into is the potion brewing basement. This down here is our laboratory for potion brewing. And I do have some other characters that you've seen in a few of my other spaces down in here. I was kind of going with the concept of the 2 main characters being the 2 sitting over on the front area by the brewing potion. So I thought that those could be the head mages, if you want to say mages or witches, whichever way you want to go about your story in your head. I just was going with this magical concept. They are the ones in charge. And then I added, of course, this really cool item from Inside Out because I do think that it also adds some very interesting kineticism to this space down here as well without always just doing the fireflies. I know I'm addicted to the fireflies. I know I use them too often and I definitely need to use less fireflies. Future me can focus on that. It's almost impossible currently not to because I'm obsessed with them. And another thing I love to do in my spaces to make them feel magical, I love to throw these bubbles in, and these bubbles, very simple, easy to craft item from Storybook Vale. Probably one of my favorite items for doing these interiors because it's one of those stunning items that you can put anything in and it suits most builds, but it does add a magical flair to this build. In this space, I wanted to feel like a basement, architecturally interesting. I gave us a stone wall. I lined the walls with bookshelves and potions to make it feel very much like a laboratory. Dexter's laboratory, that's all I can think. And I'm just going to zoom in at different angles to give you that immersive feeling in the space and see what I was imagining whenever I was designing this space. I go in and out of build mode many times whenever I am designing because I want to get an idea of what that space will look like from my character's view. But now, since they did this bizarre camera zoom out whenever you go inside a space, I think whenever they increased the size of the room that you're allowed to have inside the house, they pulled the camera view out a little bit further so that if you did have the largest size room, you do get to see the entirety of the room. But now whenever you shrink your room down, the camera doesn't adjust properly like it's supposed to. And I do think that the camera is probably going to get fixed in the future, but if it doesn't, for the next year, I'm probably gonna have to design my house skins a lot differently because it was very hard to show you guys this build with the camera zoomed out because it was clipping in too many of my items. And I know that I decorate very intensely and I fill it up. This is how I love to design my spaces. I am a maximalist at heart. I think I should have been an interior designer because this is what I live and die for. I really hope that you're enjoying this little lab that I have down here, and I hope that it gives you a ton of inspiration. So now what we're gonna do is we're going to go into each and every space, and we are going to zoom out. I'm gonna spin around so that you can get an idea for my layout, and hopefully whenever you are looking at that layout, it does inspire you. And don't forget, whenever you are designing these spaces, whenever you are cluttering up a surface, take into consideration all the different items that you have in the game. Oftentimes I find that sometimes I'm only in the mood to do a layout and lay all of my furniture down, but then I have no creative juices to decorate with, and I come back and I decorate another day. Other days I don't feel like building a room, I just want to decorate, and I'll go into a space that I've already laid furniture down into, and then I will decorate that space. And I find that I often have to decorate for my different moods. You can see how tight and how dense I've decorated all of these spaces. I try to put as many items in there as possible without making it feel too cluttered, because I wanted it, again, to feel very realistic, and that realism really comes to life for me with all of those tiny little details. And these spaces did actually take me at least 3 weeks to get all of them finished. I like to come back and forth and in and out, and I actually had to go and decorate a Christmas house in between decorating this house because I got a little overwhelmed with a little bit of too much conformity. And I find that if I go into a different space with a completely different theme while I'm decorating, it definitely helps me whenever I come back to the space, get back into the groove of the theme that I was working in. I just need a break sometimes, and I took a break from this one, and it really made a difference. I had a hard time decorating these spaces because it was hard to see. I think it's worth it. It's beautiful. I love to pop into this and look around and just see how I decorated them. It brings me a lot of happiness and joy, and I definitely get the dopamine from decorating that my mind needs to stay happy, and that's what decorating does for me. It makes me happy. So I just love to decorate these interiors because there are no item limits, and you can put all the items you want in the space. And I love not having that limit because I am decorating on the Switch, and the exterior I don't have that ability to put as many items as I want to in, so I do go ham on the interiors, but I am so happy with the way everything turned out. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate the support. Please let me know which room was your favorite, and I hope that you appreciated the continuity of the story for this entire house skin. Let me know which room is most inspirational for you. Are you going to use it in a space? Are you going to completely change the theme? Because you could turn any of these rooms into a different theme by replacing most of the furniture pieces, or just replacing the colors of a lot of the furniture to give it a different aesthetic. Thanks so much for watching. Appreciate you guys. Give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you later.